Welcome to Spill the Tea with LLIB. On this episode, we have the lovely co-founders of Be Ethical, Caroline Swiles and Heather de Groot. Both ladies will be sharing how they're leading the change in promoting authentic and ethical business practices. Okay, ladies, thank you for being with us today. Can you spill the tea on what the journey in business has been like for you both so far?
Okay, I'll start with this one. So today, I think I personally feel quite celebrated and empowered being in this room with you guys. Last week was a different story. I was crying in my hands thinking, when's it all going to stop? But I think this whole process has been an absolute roller coaster, exhilarating, but terrifying at the same time. Yeah. But I've now been my own boss for over 7 years now. And I actually woke up and realised that yesterday. And I was like you were saying before, we just don't celebrate it. Yeah. It's like, what's the next thing on the list? Being a mum, being a wife, being, a business owner, what's next to move forward with? So today's all about celebrating that, I think. So we're delighted to be here. But yeah, it has been an absolute rollercoaster.
You know how many of our listeners will have needed that just right now? Like the amount of women who are going to be watching, just listening to that sentence will, honestly, you could have just changed their whole,
You need to be honest about it. I think... it's Caroline's fault. Why am I own boss? 7 years ago, I was made redundant, and she said to me, have you thought about, I think you could be really good. Yeah. And I was a bit like, but I've always been told, have the certainty, have the security, where's the pension? You're going to cover your sick days. But I can honestly say, being my own boss and having that flexibility to be at home with my family and friends,
absolutely,
it's priceless. And I'm just so proud of the both of us for doing that. So thank you for letting us share our story today.
Fabulous. So it's been a bit different for me. I've been in business for nearly 10 years. I'd worked in a business and grown up there. Just felt like I was ready to leave when I got made redundant. Great redundancy package. But I'd worked for a really difficult boss just before that end. So it just felt really, really like the right time. And I was a member of the Rotary group. So I'd been in the Rotary for 5 years, and I just reached out to my network. I reached out to that network. I reached out to the network I worked in events. I reached out to those that I'd come across through corporate social responsibility, and I just positioned myself and said, I think I'm going to go freelance. What do you think? Oh, if anyone can do it, you can do it. If anyone can do it, you can do it. And I thought, right, that's it. I'm going to do it. I've got a year's money. I'm going to just see how this goes. And I had 5 days freelance work within the first week of leaving the business.
Great.
And was back in Bibby within 4 months, working for them again in one of their other companies. So it all just worked really well. I struggled when I had my little boy, because within 6 weeks of having him, I lost every bit of work that I had. I had to rebuild my business, and I'd worked with a really difficult manager just before I went freelance, but she taught me a lot. And I remember saying to her once, I'm not very good at writing. She said, don't tell yourself that, because it'll come true. And it stayed with me and stayed with me. And I became a writer, and I write. And that's what we do a lot, don't we? We write, and we ask questions, and then we create content that elevates people in their businesses, elevates them in their communities.
And I became storytellers, aren't we?
And I love being able to take someone's business, get under their skin, understand about them, and then write it all down for them. It's just a wonderful experience, and I'll never stop doing it now. I'll never be out of work, because I know I've got a skill that I can use no matter what. Well, AI might challenge that a little bit, but it's got to have a personality.
I don't think it is a computer, from what I've seen, and I don't think it could ever replace that human. It's just what you both have just shared.
It's the energy, isn't it? So a lot of the time our clients will say to us, we're buying your energy. We want to bottle up what you've got and spread it across the business. That's what, and we've just had a client session this morning, and we went in there and it was a bit like, oh God, are we going to pull this project up? And we've left and they're all buzzing, and that's what we do it for. We love it, sharing our passion for something we care about, which is celebrating these businesses. A lot of them small, family owned, who've been doing ESG, CSR, sustainability. There's so many acronyms and scary words out there, but we simplify it. We talk their language. We pull it all out and we just say, let's celebrate it. That's what we're here to do. So for a journey, it's been a whirlwind, but I feel like our impact has gone so beyond what we could have ever achieved working for one organisation.
Oh, absolutely.
And when I had the same experience as Caroline, I had my little boy shut shop overnight, took a year out. But actually, I didn't know what I was going to be like as a mum. I thought to myself, oh yeah, I'll be this papoose wearing, organic vegetables in the wicker basket. 9 months in, I was chomping the bit. Not because he was a terror, sometimes he was a terror, but he empowered me to see the value that I had. Yeah. And then when I sat down with Caroline, bless her, this was the night before Boris said the first lockdown, and Caroline said, well, you sort of thought, I'm going to do this to support you because you'd experienced what it was like to lose your business overnight. And it's just grown and grown and grown, hasn't it?
I thought, I'll get a few projects, I'll hand them over. We had a property business, I was going to focus on that. And I was just loving working with Heather. Yeah. And I was like, I don't want to stop doing this now. So the property stuff didn't come off anyway because of COVID. But we just adapted and changed our business, didn't we? But working together is so much more fun.
You sound like you're such an amazing team, and like, you make things work for you. But I'd be really interested to know what's like the biggest challenge since setting up your business that you've had to overcome. And I know you've mentioned the challenge that comes with motherhood and running a business, but is there anything else as well that's been a really big challenge for you that you've overcome it and you could maybe give other business owners a little bit of advice that they could take with them?
I would say we have invested money into things without really knowing what we're investing in, because we weren't really clear about our offer, and our offer was changing, which meant we were having to put more money into things to change things. Go and find a business that's done the 2 years that you're about to embark on and find out what their mistakes were. Go through LinkedIn and just ask for 10 minutes of their time. I'm a founder. I'm just about to develop this product. I notice you're already in the marketplace having success. Could you give me some guidance? Because they'll tell you what not to do. We met that guy, didn't we? We went, oh yeah, I've spent 300 grand on a piece of software. And we were like, my gosh. Yeah. And that's not even our software anymore. We've had to pay for another piece. So, we're looking to automate some of our services, but we're not ready to automate unless we know exactly how it's going to be done. So go and find the people who've had the experience and ask for their support, because they'll love to tell you. They will love to support you. People are wonderful like that, especially founders and those who set up their own organisations, absolutely. So I would say that would be a piece of advice. Yeah. And we're learning that.
And I suppose that fits in as well with, there's a saying, isn't there, don't take advice from people who haven't had the success that you're looking to have, because quite often when you're starting off as a woman in business, as an entrepreneur, people will say to you, oh, what if it doesn't work out? What about this? What about that? And they try and from a place of love quite often, but they'll try and hold you back and keep you small without even realising. So I think that fits in really well with that as well, doesn't it? Is to seek advice from the people 100%. Who've had the success.
So people have their own insecurities and they try and place them on you, and if you're not like them, then but negativity will always take over for positivity. So you start to question yourself, oh gosh, no, I think I can, but they're like, oh no, I don't think you should. No, listen to yourself, go from your perspective. Another thing is, we're trying to convince people to do something with us that doesn't actually, isn't necessarily required in their business. And we've tried to take what we did in a big business and take it into a small business, and they don't really understand why, because they don't see the value. We've only just recently realised that we don't want to work with those people now. We want to work with those that are on the same page. Yeah. We want to work with those that have got a mission to do great things in their communities. The ones that just need that little bit of support to structure it and have a great outcome. We're not convincing people to work with us anymore, are we?
And since we've made that decision, it's like...
It's all coming in.
It's all coming in. It's so strange. Yeah. It's like you hold on for something to dear life, saying, please work with me, I really want this project to work. And then as soon as you go, do you know what? I'm going to let it go with love. I wish them all the best, but they're not ready. And then 2-3 weeks later, they're banging on your door to say, we need you now. So, and I spoke to a friend, I had coffee with her this week, and she's like, I'm done in this industry. It's like, it's too much. It's really hard work. And I said, you've just got to let it go and give the space for other opportunities to come in your life and get focused. And as Caroline said, it's about, you've got to do business. You've got to be in business. So I spoke to an entrepreneur. She was just starting up, and she's like, oh, I've got to put all my own savings into a website and and I said, can I just stop you there? I said, because that was a mistake we made, spending 10 grand on a website that became obsolete within 4 weeks because we changed the service. I said to her, get your LinkedIn tree, get your socials up and running. I said, just keep it basic, keep it simple, and do your research, go out, find the mentors. We actually invested in a business coach or a coach that supported us. And it was fascinating. It was like couples therapy. Caroline's like my business wife. And we thought we were dead similar, didn't we? Because we've had similar experiences in life and stuff. And then when we pulled it apart, this is why we work so well together as a team. We realised that I'm the, what do they call us? You're the gas and I'm the brake. So Kaz is the big picture. There's the opportunities there. And I'm like the whoa. Let's figure it out. Let's get all the details in place and everything else. But that's what's worked really well.
She's the integrator. She can do everything. She can do everything. I can't. I've got no attention span for stuff. I can lose her for days. I'm like, is she okay? She's disappeared into some sort of automation thing that she's doing. I'm like, I'm just going to leave her to it. She'll WhatsApp if she needs me, but I'm out with the fairies. And unless you can get me to sit down and like really focus on some writing, I'm just like, woohoo, who can I speak to now? What networking can I go to? Can I go and smile in anybody's space? But
you need those both sides, don't you? Because otherwise I would just be buried away in the spreadsheets and then no work would come in. So Caroline would come, found this amazing potential client. I'm thinking this and this. Do you think we can make this happen? I'm like, give me 48 hours. And then I'll figure it out somehow. So we smash it like that. Yeah. But until we did this business coaching experience, we didn't identify the differences. And then it was also interesting because we had to align the vision for the business. We had to really have an open and honest conversation and say, what do we want to do with this business? Do we want to sell it? Do we want to pass it on? Do we put a shareholders agreement in and all this stuff? And we're friends. We've been friends for nearly 20 years now. So that was also like a conversation we had to navigate. Yeah. So it has been an absolute journey. But God, for those women who are in business by themselves, get yourself a mentor.
Or a peer group.
Because we've got each other, haven't we? We've invested in that and now we've still got each other. So if I'm having a low day, well, I'm like, oh, this client's dropped off or this project's not coming in. And Caroline will be like, yeah, but I've got this, and this, and we're doing this, and this, and vice versa. You'll ring me up and go, oh, I feel rubbish. And I'm like, so we hit that balance to ride that roller coaster together. What did we say? At Christmas, strap in. We've got another year of this one.
It's like a bumpy ride, isn't it? It's never... Well, we've got great vision, we've got goals, we've got drive, we've got determination. We're not going to give up. We also have such an expertise now because we've been doing this for 3 years relentlessly, haven't we? We've learned so much on the way. We just want to share it with other businesses. So, if it's time, we'll make it simple for you. We make sense of your sustainability so you don't have to worry about it. And it just get started with us because we help people understand what they're already doing. That's great. And it's really important that businesses know that they're not just about making profit, they're about impacting as well.
And I think as a consultant or as a person who's supporting someone else, you need to go into those conversations thinking, how can I help you? Not what's in it for me. Because as soon as you go in those conversations, the energy is just so different and you can feel that person's wall doesn't come up where they're like, oh God, here's another sales thing. It's I've got that document somewhere, or I've written a blog a couple of weeks ago that'll help you on that. Let me send you it. Or let's do a 30-minute call. Let's go for coffee. And once they know that they can't live without you, that's what you want, isn't it? You want to prove that you're... Because it's hard to sell something when you're not selling a physical product. You're selling your intellectual property. It's your experience. Like we've been running Be Ethical for 3 years. We've been in sustainability for decades.
Too long.
So we were really at the forefront of this back in 2007 when Caroline started it, and I came in 2010. And we forget that, I think, as women as business. When I was made redundant, I just shut that door on my life and thought, I love that, but I'm never going to visit that again. And then there was a very senior person that came up from London to meet me in Birmingham and said to me, we do not know anyone who has your expertise. And it was like a light bulb moment. It's like, why have I just shut the door on that? Because one business had to make a business decision to let me go. And I took it very personally. And this is why Caroline's a huge influence and mentor in my life as well, because she just goes, no one cares about your love. Really, it's a business decision. I'm like,
why do we do that?
Why take everything so personally?
I think we all do, don't we?
We really, really do, But it reminded me of a conversation that you had around transferable skills and how we do shut the door to previous jobs when actually we learned a lot. We've got a lot of skills from that, from teaching, from all of those roles. I think when we start our own businesses, we think we're starting from scratch.
And then the procrastination and then the imposter syndrome and then...
So I had a really interesting experience. I used to have a person in the business on this huge pedestal. She was a global marketing director for a financial services business, which is part of our group, and she was just like God in my world. And she used to teach me loads. She was so caring. She'd always help out. And I got made redundant, went away, started my business. And then she took the decision with her business to leave. She reached out to me to ask for my advice. And then I went down to meet her somewhere. She went, I'm out for my birthday tonight. Do you want to come? I'm like, okay. So I go into this bar. She's thanking everyone for being there. And then she thanks me for my help in helping her set up her business. And I just realised she's a mum, she's a wife, she's a woman who's got friends and family. She's just dead normal like all of us, but I'd put her on such a pedestal. And you just realise that as a woman, you've just got to help each other out.
Absolutely.
I absolutely love that. So who would you say has made the biggest influence, both in life or in business? Who would you say you look up to most?
Well, I've got to obviously plug my lovely business wife, because I wouldn't have started on this journey if it wasn't for her seeing a little spark in me running around as a volunteer. Well, because I left a university in 2008. There was no jobs. My qualification was just like, it was in journalism, actually, media professional studies. And I decided to make the effort to volunteer for a local charity. And I was doing this tall ship event. So I was on this tall ship running around doing a corporate business dinner, drinks reception. And she spotted me and came over and said, I like you.
I was like, you need to come and work with me.
That's so cute.
I thought she's a firecracker. She's exactly, so as part of our role, we had to go out and promote what we had on offer in the business so that we could engage the employees to fundraise and volunteer. It's really hard to do that in a warehouse with a load of fellas that don't even want to be in a job. And then you're coming in going, why don't you do this event? And why don't you fundraise for this charity? And it can be hard. And when I saw Heather, I was like, ooh, there's not many of them around. Need one like that. So
Come here, you.
We had a job coming up, and she'd started to work for a supplier of ours. So I just phoned her and went, just have a look on the website for me, will you? There's a job opportunity. So I was recruiting with our HR director. We had 6 or 7 applicants. Never mentioned once that I knew who Heather was, didn't talk about it. She came in, she was first, and my director went, don't need to interview anyone else, do we? And I was like, oh, she was great, wasn't she? Yeah, she's really good. And then more people came in, and there was no way there was anybody else even close.
But I would have never have had that opportunity to start my career in corporate social responsibility if Caroline hadn't seen something in me. And then from then on, even when she moved higher up in different areas of the business, we always stayed in contact. We always ate cheese and crackers and wine, didn't we, and stuff back in the day. And then when she had her little boy, and I was so over the moon. And then when I had my little boy, and then it was just so, we've always just been together. So I feel like it was just destined that we were going to join forces again, because we know each other so. We already had that foundation in place. So it's an absolute joy to be in a room together. And it's like, I know when I need to back off. She knows when I need to back off. It's like, we are literally like a couple. So Caroline has been a massive, hugely mentor in my life. And then probably, as I mentioned before, my little boy is probably a huge influence on me, because actually becoming a mum and realising mentally and physically what I did to raise him in that first year, I just went, I have got no time for BS. I've got to show up. I've got to show him that I need to do things I'm passionate about. And I'm also very lucky to have my husband, who's also massively doing something that he's passionate about. He's a musician. So like trying to do a career being a musician's huge, and he's done that so successfully over the last 7 years. So I massively look up to him as well. And I just watch my little boy now, and I say to myself, it's so important that he sees the value in working. Isn't you've got to work and get the pennies, you've got to earn to save. You've got to do something to give back. You've got something to give to community, give to society, and something that fills you with a light. And that's what we're trying to do. And I wouldn't have done that if he wasn't in my world. So everything's for him. And like, he just makes me feel like I can do anything. Absolutely.
You always said that though. You always said, I'm like a superwoman. Absolutely. We had exactly the same birthing experience and everything's so weird. It wasn't good. I'm like, what? You're such a rip-off, aren't you?
I know. I am. She's like, oh, where she is.
I love that.
Oh, you compliment each other so well, don't you? Ladies, I would love to know about any goals that you've got for your business right now, or it could be personal goals too.
So I am heading into that time in my life where, you know, things are getting a bit difficult hormonally. So decided I want to be, if I'm going to be miserable, I want to be thin and fit. So, so the time has come. I've really, really had to challenge myself to get out into environments where there's people. As much as I'm okay in this sort of situation and I can go to networking events and I can be a social butterfly, I'm not good. I'm quite introverted. I loved COVID for that. I could have stayed at home forever. I didn't really need anyone around me either. I could have quite happily been a cat mum through COVID and had a ball. So I've really challenged myself to get to the gym and go to classes, and now I'm obsessed. I'm at 4 classes a week, can't wait to get there. I used to say to myself, I haven't got time. I flipping have. I've made time for it. Husband's just about to open a business, which is a gym concept business. It's not like the weights and everything, it's class driven. And I thought, I can't be, you know, I've got to go looking fit and healthy for that as well. But we've got a 6-year-old, I'm 46, he's 63. We've got to stay healthy and fit. So personally, it's about me now getting my mojo back and getting back into a size 12 and going, oh, that doesn't feel like I can't breathe. You know, I can breathe in this item of clothing. So I'm excited for the next 6 to 8 months of getting myself into the best shape I've been in for a long, long time. That's a personal thing. The work goals change all the time for us. So I can't really comment because it might be different next week, but really, we just want to work with businesses that want to do this. We just want to work with the same businesses that are really passionate about engaging their communities, their people and the planet, and that they just need some help to make it better than it already is.
I think on a business... I think on a business point, I want to work with more philanthropists because there's so much wealth in this world. When you can find an individual that is willing to share some of it, so much magic can happen. And we just want to be those assistants, those Debbie McGee's to help that magic happen. Because that type of wealth within a small community just takes over lives, and it's huge. So for me, on a personal note, on a business note, it would be that. And then personally, I want to keep honouring the time that I've carved out. So I think it was actually an event that I went to with Leading Ladies, and there was a business coach there, and she said it's so important to give yourself the space and time to reflect, celebrate, relax, because what that does is it opens up more space and time for others in your life. And I really took that on board. So every Friday afternoon, I have my self-care times. Caroline knows not to bother me.
No texting after 12.
So I either go to the spa or I do, you know, like really gorgeous treats just before the weekend, before the chaos of a 3-year-old. And I just really want to keep honouring that and keep carving that space out for myself and try to support other women to do the same as well, because I do think that has changed my whole mindset on when I'm showing up to events. I'm not like, oh God, I've got to do this and this and this, and I haven't got time to do this and this. I just block out my Friday afternoon. I'm going to
do that.
It's
that's something that I'm taking away from this. I am doing that. Friday afternoons for me.
She is so good at turning off though. I can't do it. I'd work 3 or 4 hours a day for 7 days. Or she can go to the gym, get in, be at her desk sweating and still hair wet at 9 and stop at 4. And it's like, I can't, it physically makes me feel sick, the thought of being at my desk for that amount of time. She forgets to go to the loo. She forgets to drink.
She's like, have you drank any water today? 2 litres, that's your goal. And I'm like, water? No, water's weakness. I'm going to the toilet if I need to water.
That's 3 minutes of my day I will not give into.
So she deserves that Friday off, whereas I'd be like, well, I'll just catch up with that on Saturday afternoon because we're so different. She's got her list and she's ticking off her list. I haven't written my list, don't know what my list is, don't know where my pen is. Do you know what I mean?
I love that.
There's your pen. It's there. I left it there last time it came round.
I've got better. I think the business works better when I'm more prior prepped in terms of not everything has to be where it needs to be. But if I've got my to-do list and I'm ticking it off in terms of the weekly, so I have a week in front of me instead of like the daily one, I'll have a best week ever and it'll be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and it'll be the, like today, podcast, and that is it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not squeezing anything in this evening and I think that's where I've grown as a person in terms of I don't have to find something to do when there's nothing that needs to be done.
Yeah, I know
where
what you mean.
I was finding things, this will be an amazing idea, let's just put that. And if I said it on the day, it will happen. It'll be there the next day. It'll be done. It'll be boxed off. And I think I've been more mindful. I am a mum of 3. So my older children, you know, my son, he's in the RAF. So I think now with the girls, one of them's 17, one of them's 8. And with Aurora, I'm like, no, I'm not giving up any time that can be spent, because it goes so quick. Like I still remember holding him like as a little baby. I still remember his little red jumper, like going into nursery. Like honestly, you will blink. Life is just too short for me to be. I was working evenings. She's even got a desk next to mine, like with a computer on it, to do her bits and bobs or to watch YouTube. And I set it up for my convenience so I could work while she was entertained. And now I'm just like, no, it's Barbie time, it's cinema time, it's, you know, film time on the couch. And I feel like that was COVID as well, because I like yourself, I loved COVID. I could have been that cat mum as well. I liked it because all my family were underneath one roof and I didn't have to worry about anything that was happening outside my 4 walls. So I think that's something definitely I'm working on every day.
I would just like to clarify, I do block out the calendar of the stuff I'm doing. So I do some planning, but I don't have lists, and I'm not all like, because it just doesn't work for me. But I'm 10 years older than Heather, and I did a lot of personal development from I had a really horrendous friendship breakdown at 24. I went through a bit of a spiritual experience with it all, and went and trained to be Reiki healer and went to be a masseuse and did all of the things that helped me relax. But I learned this lesson about drama. I'm not good with other people's drama. So when someone's got a bit of an opinion about me, I'm like, yeah, whatever, mate, there you go. There's a mirror, you can have that back. And I think sometimes in business, you've got to just accept the fact that people aren't even hearing what you're saying. Never mind understanding, because they're not listening, because they're listening to their own chatter. So let them carry on with their own drama and you just keep rocking on. Now, I get upset when we don't always secure a client, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, no problem. And there'll be other times when I go, sorry, no, I can't do that because it doesn't feel ethically right for me to do this piece of work for you. So, you know, there's times when we just have to say no to work or things don't work out. But I've learned as well, I'm part of a mastermind group. It's quite a spiritual mastermind group, actually. It's marketing, but we're all really spiritual on this call. And one of the things our coach always says to us, no opens the door to yes. And I think that's what we're good at. We're good at saying no to certain things, because then the yeses come, don't they? So, spirituality's been a big part of me being able to just relax a bit more than Heather. Heather can be a lot more, a bit, is it that, I don't think it's stressy. I think it's driven. Her drive is, but because you're trying to get to a point where you're proving that you're valid in the work that you do, she doesn't need to prove anything. She's phenomenal. Do you know what I mean? And like I don't know half the stuff that goes on in Be Ethical, because I'm too busy going out for lunches and going to networking events while she makes it all happen. And it's a good job you do, because we wouldn't have a business.
I just love the relationship that you both have got, both in friendship and in business. That's a sustainable business, isn't it? It really is.
Yeah, Caroline's taught me a lot in regards to, she always says, if it feels forced, we need to walk away, because what we're doing in ethical businesses, it has to be authentic. And don't get me wrong, we have a lot of clients who come to us and go, it's a tick box exercise, write as a policy, write as a strategy, that's it. And we're like, we're sorry, we can't work with you. It's the evidence, but not just the evidence in regards to the stats. It's the stories, it's the people testimonials, it's the workforce engagement, it's the engagement piece that we feel is our USP at the moment in what we do at Be Ethical. It's proving that sustainability is only sustainable when your people are involved. Everyone's focusing on the E at the moment, which rightly so is important. If we haven't got a planet, when we're not going to be here. But to get to those goals, those net zero goals and everything else, you need to engage people. 100%. So a lot of these people that are writing these strategies, they're all risk and compliance based. They've got the skill set isn't in engagement. And therefore, if you walk into a business and say to a receptionist, oh, congratulations, you're here, you got solar panels on your roof. And they look at you like, I don't know what you're on about. Then actually the authenticity of that culture and what you're externally saying about your business isn't the reality in-house. So that's what we always challenge, and we love, being our background in shipping and construction and everything else, we love being around a table full of men who are like, we're amazing, we're great, it's the employee handbook, we're brilliant. And then we're like, well, we asked your staff and they actually said X, Y, and Z, and they're like mortified. And it's like, you need to engage your best asset. That's your people, and that's what we do, and that's what we've learned from our time.
Have you come across? I personally feel that I've come across this. A lot of companies out there at the minute, and they want to portray to be ethical and sustainable, but because it's trendy, not because that's really what they are at the heart. Like, how do you deal with that? Have you come across anybody like that?
It's all about the questioning. So we find out quite quickly how they are reality-wise against perception. So their website's got loads of stuff on, the socials look amazing, everybody's engaged, they've all got a branded t-shirt on. The culture is diabolical. And it's like, you can't, this is greenwashing. Greenwashing is seen as environmental, but it's everything, social and environmental. My challenge is the green hushing. So those businesses who are doing wonderful things, they've got policies in place, great, but they've got people who love to work there. They've got apprenticeship programs, they do work placements, they do mentoring, they go out and they deliver seminars, they engage with their community, they fundraise, they volunteer, they have award recognition programs. They've got everything in place, and their website says absolutely nothing. So there's nobody thinking that they're an employer of choice. There's nobody thinking I want to buy from them. There's nobody thinking they're better than that competitor. Because they don't talk about, they're too scared. And we just help them figure that out. But working with the tick boxes, we walk away. I
love that.
The tick boxes, you can smell them from a mile off.
I've worked in it.
We walk in the room and go, here we go.
I've worked in a few schools that are tick box. To the point where we've had to hide children, not physically hide them, but play out on the playground with the children if Ofsted were in, or change certain things. It's not.
See, the key to sustainability is transparency and
Absolutely.
honesty. So some of our clients work in really bad industries for the environment, and they're like, we want to talk about this, this, and this, and this. And I go, yeah, but there's the great big elephant in the room, oil. How are you actually getting yourself out of that industry? Because of it, we have to. But it's a difficult conversation, so we always go into the room and like, listen, financial services, one of the things that you do to small businesses, you put them in bankruptcy. They can be in financial debt for years to come. Therefore, how about thinking about partnering with a charity that supports them in their financial crisis? Oh, we can't do that. It's a bit like, no, you have to, if you're causing a problem, you've got to be fixing it as a first off, but then you've got to be actively striving to change it. You can't just be putting a plaster over something as well. It's the systematic, get this wrong, systematic change that has to happen as well. So,
well, I know a systematic change that needs to happen within our business for sure, which is our last question of the show, which is a tradition that we like to close the show with, and it's all about how we make our tea. So we've got a team Cal and we've got a team Claire, but Kathy is my lovely co-host today, obviously. So I don't mind, if you just say me because I'm here to make me feel great. That's absolutely fine.
Okay.
But I will tell Cal if she gets a point as well. Okay. So when making a cup of tea, if you were to make a cup of tea for myself or Kathy, how would you make the perfect cup of tea?
Okay.
So I have a family.
I love the seriousness.
I have a family of tea drinkers who all drink exactly the same tea, and apparently I make it perfectly. I can't drink tea because my nan used to make it for me with coronation milk and 3 sugars. Oh my goodness. So the smell of tea makes me feel physically sick. However, it is a tea bag in, although my husband has to have a teapot. Tea bag in, nice and strong, bit of a squeeze, and then probably the same amount as a teaspoon of milk.
Wow,
and that's it. It's light tomato sauce. That's what they all have it like.
Okay. Can I ask, does the tea bag get removed before the milk goes in?
Absolutely.
The team Cal.
Apparently.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Perfect.
but that's the way. If
That's
anyone
the
caught
way.
me doing it any other way, they'd be,
Well, it does actually say that on the back of a Yorkshire tea.
Well,
I think.
I only drink decaf now. I have a 3-year-old, so every minute counts, doesn't it? For his sleep. My mum is a nightmare. Every time we go to a cafe, I'm mortified. She's like, keep the tea bag separate because I'm only going to dip it in twice. And I'm like, it's an absolute waste. Give me the tea bag and I'll share it around with everyone else. But I think if I was going to do something at home for my husband, it would be tea bag in, hot water to the top. He likes it quite strong, so leave it in for a bit and then tea bag out. in with the milk. So I'm like,
two team Cal.
You are milk with tea bag.
That never happens, yeah. So basically,
she'd be devastated she's missed it.
She honestly, she's got so many points today, and she never gets any points really, which is crazy.
So loads of people keep the tea bag in.
There's a tribe of us,
Wow. Milky tea bags.
And sometimes we are called feral. Yeah. Maggie O'Carroll, who is the founder of the women's organisation, was on the lovely couch, and Cal, said it was a feral way, didn't she? It's just the way we make a cup of tea. So I put my tea bag in the teacup, and then I put the water in, stir it round, give it a little hug, keep it in, and then I put the milk in, and then I see, like, when it's the right colour. And then I'll take it out and pop it in the bin.
Okay, I appreciate why you do that now.
I appreciate you.
Because if I take, and you will love
it.
this for sustainability and for everything and environment and everything else. But if I take that tea bag out before and put it in the bin, and then I pour too much milk in, I've got to use another tea bag.
No, that's true.
True. Okay.
I'm okay if you change your mind and you want to jump on my...
Can we give ethical points?
Ethical points, thank you. I got it. Okay, so that is great. I didn't get no point. Well, I got 1 point for the ethical part. So that was amazing. But thank you so much for being amazing guests on the show. We're really, really excited for the future. Are there any goals in business that you can share with us now that you are ready to, put out there into the world and about moving forward with the business?
We want to engage 1 million employees in our workforce training in the next 5 years. And we'd like to find an investor that would like to invest in our automation so that we're not needed to deliver the training. And we're ready to go. Pitch is ready if anybody's available.
Oh my God. So that's ready to go now, like ready to move forward?
We've already got an MVP because we already deliver it. It's already, a profitable business, but we can't get out to 1 million people on our own. It would be, well, Heather might be.
Heather's already done it. It was done yesterday.
But no, I wouldn't be able to do it.
Amazing. Fantastic.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
So
that's the goal.
Thank you for having us.
We can't wait
Thanks
to see
for
that
coming.
happen. Thank you so much for being amazing guests on the show.
Thank you.